basically he came to the conclusion that Creole things aren't people, and that they should build a wall. I probably should stop because I'm broadcasting. But yeah.
Oh my god.
His name is Tom Segura, and he was just talking about like how they're not people.
Yeah,
and then they got mad talking about, oh, you can't say we're not people. And then I'm like, listen to the guy, like the people trying to defend themselves, and the more they talk, the more I'm like kind of agreeing with Tom. I'm like, y'all gotta calm that down.
Oh my god. I mean, they definitely are like, because in the US we're such like a mosh pit of like cultures. It's weird to see like a separated, like almost isolated culture within the US.
I mean,
And so they're like their own separate thing.
You don't say people.
They're like, well, they're like their own separate culture outside of just like, I don't want to say American because they're still American, but like the norm, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a certain flavor, you could say, because they do have, that's like basically, you know how like you take a black person and you introduce them to the white culture and you be like, oh, are you even black? When you take a white person and put them in Louisiana, I feel like it's a weird type of mixture. It's like, you know, they're still white, they still have their beliefs, but they have like a lot of black tendencies to them, I guess you could say.
Louisiana, just all of Louisiana is just like a whole different breed. Like, have you
We
ever
gotta go to
been
Mardi
down
Gras.
there?
No, me and Shannon were planning on going to Mardi Gras, but
I would go. I went down there, it was the week after Mardi Gras, and it was like a storm blew through the town. It was ridiculous. There's beads in trees, and it's to the point to where like it's just part of, like, they're not gonna clean it up. Like, it's just part of the area now. Because it's gonna take the time to like get on top of some like 50-foot tree, and like I don't even know how the beads got up there, but they're there.
right.
It's just part of the scenery now. No, but I agree. And even for like a southern like country type, because when you get deep in like the country down here, like people are different. That's even like way outside of that. So I agree they're different, but I think it's just
Yeah, I got
weird.
cousins in Virginia, and that's not even near fucking Louisiana. Even when they say certain things, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you say something offensive or something they don't like, they do this weird thing. They're like, "Aw," and I'm like, what is that? Like, what? Are you defeated? I'm like, what is that sound you're making? Like,
I've never heard of that.
like you're a 260-pound male. That noise should not come out of your mouth. And like, cause they consider us smarter, which we're.
They do?
Yeah, they do. I'm not gonna say we are or we aren't. I mean, they're probably smarter in different subjects. But everything we say, like when we say like a wisecrack or something slick, they say like, "Oh, you're being sarcastic." I'm like, that's not the definition of sarcastic, but I'll let you slide.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's definitely weird. I mean, you know how there's like black culture, and it's like I can go to a different state and meet another black person. It's like we can relate, like, you know.
Yeah.
But when I went to Louisiana, it was just like, where did you come from?
The swamp. Like, what are you saying to me?
Like, we went to Popeyes. The Popeyes there. It was the first time I ever went there. And, like, the lady was talking, and I'm like, I see the food. I see the object we're both talking about. But if I didn't see what we're talking about, I would have no idea what you're saying right now.
Oh, so they really are that bad. Like, you can't understand them?
It was difficult. My brain was very tired after trying to like decipher.
I'm in a group chat with my siblings. I'm like, I call my brothers family pale bones. I was probably wrong, and it was like, all right, this is how it started. Well, I got y'all all here. What do y'all think of Creoles? What? That European and black people? Not really people, but okay. And then Yak says, Malik thinks they're creatures. He kind of made me change my mind. And so apparently I'm like the Trump of black people.
Jesus. Yeah, and I think it's weird for the U.S. to have people that are American, but that are their culture is influenced from something other than Mexican.
Yeah, you know, that's
the border there.
That's a very good point.
A lot by the French.
Right. That's a very good point, because even though, like, say everything from Canada all the way down to like Peru is all Native Americans at one point, and then the Spanish went, you know, south, the Mexico and down. English went to, you know, the New York and a couple of coasts, and then the French got the rest of it basically, and Canada. And now we all consider like, oh, they're Mexicans, oh, they're Canadians. Like, no, we're all native people, but we kind of were different in a way. But I don't know what happened over there in Louisiana. That's that's some other stuff.
Well, but yeah, so we have like the Spanish down south, and then like Canada is heavily influenced by the French, and so it's just weird to have like one state in Louisiana that in the south is influenced by French culture.
I feel like if we took Louisiana and like physically pushed it into Canada, they wouldn't accept it. They push it back like, no, y'all keep these things, like, because they have like the, you know, the fancy Frenchness. And then they have like the southern just rawness, and they're just like, what is this? Like, imagine taking a person from Europe, like a dandyman from Europe, and putting them in Louisiana.
You have a good point, because it's like country bumpkin mixed with like high class French together, and then
it's a country bumpkin eating a crawdad with his pinky up, and they're just like, what is this thing? Send it back. And then Shen came out and told me he was part Creole. I was like, well, that's why. It's like, what? That's what's wrong with you.
Wait, what just happened?
I think we timed out or something. I sent you an invite though. I'll send you another one. Yo, if this game has a Creole in it, this would be the scariest game of 2020. Imagine putting one of them Creoles in office.
Oh my god.
We crawl dance for everyone. We going mudding.
I was about to say, I think there might be more unity.
Maybe, because it might be like, get this dude out of here.
But I think it would be like unity because they'd be scared to defy.
One of them Creoles.
Cause did you ever watch American Horror Story?
I watched the first season.
I think the most recent season had Creole people in it.
Oh man, that's horrifying.
Well, I don't know if you'd consider them Creole.
So you have to use subtitles for at least half the season then.
No, they might not be Creole, but they might just be like, they're like these country, like Creole influence, like super country, like hillbilly influenced family that are like cannibals.
Oh my god, that makes more sense than the regular Creole.
And it was pretty interesting.
I might end up getting beat up by a Creole just for saying all this. They got some of the strongest Creole up here.
They're gonna come after you.
On a crawdad boat.
Oh, hang on one second. You can go ahead and start whenever we're right back.
I think you gotta press X. She's lying. She's part Creole. Get her to admit it. She's probably the Creole queen. What y'all want?
You got the call this time?
Yeah, Tish.
I'm looking for right one. Look at that boy.
Yeah, so about these Creoles.
Now, why you don't think they people?
Have you heard them talk?
Okay, I'm back.
Ain't they from like Louisiana, French, and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the
Hold on
French-
one second,
well,
Cindy. You
some
just
of them
started.
speak French.
I can't. You have to.
All right, Cindy, I'm back. I had to recruit my siblings to the army of, you know what? She's like, my sibling. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to look into this. What are these things? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly all I'm in here. You look into this. Yeah, I was like, yeah, he made a valid point. You know, I don't know. And then Shen comes out and says, oh, you know, I'm part Creole. Like, oh, okay, so we got evidence.
No.
So, you know, people always been asking me. No, I'm not even going to it. But actually, let me turn the YouTube off. I'm going into it.